It's such a fast-paced society that everybody's going to fast food. And if you get junky, you're going to have junky results.
Exactly.
And what we were talking about in terms of the simplicity of what we're going to be focusing on at the Healing Center is we're going to be looking closely, monitoring, and making advice and recommendations around 4 areas. What we eat, what we drink, what we do, and what we think. What we eat, what we drink, what we do, what we think. And so what we eat, we've got to look at organic. If God made it, let's eat it.
Right.
If man made it, man manipulated it, let's stay away from it.
Absolutely.
And that's simple. What we drink, water, is the basis for cleansing our systems. We can put all kinds of liquids into our systems, healthy or not, but water is the only thing that's going to cleanse us. And so starting with drinking more water, and then looking at the things we can eliminate that have artificial coloring in them, that have artificial flavorings in them, that have the artificial sweeteners in them, that have too much sugar in them, that have too much salt in them. And what are the natural drinks that we can use? We could look at pressing more juices. We can look at the things that God did make. God made tea, God made coffee, God made fruits that we can squeeze down into juices. What we do, we need to exercise more.
Yes.
And that doesn't require a whole lot.
That's
30
right.
minutes.
30 minutes, yes.
5 days a week. Some of the things that we can do more of. And what we can do less of is drink less alcohol, drink less sweet drinks, let's drink less things that have those artificial coloring, the artificial flavorings, etc. What we think, very, very important. So much of our thoughts, and the Bible tells us, as a man thinketh, so is he. And so if we're thinking depressive thoughts, we're going to end up depressed.
Exactly.
If we think that we can do all things through Christ Jesus who strengthens us, we'll be able to do
the power of the mind.
The power of the mind.
I would also like to tell the audience out there, have you ever been to a facility where we have a caterer on site? His name is Jay. He makes smoothies. He has natural wraps.
Mm-hmm.
He has organic salads. In a healing center, we also have a beautiful kitchen where we could show and teach and educate people how to combine. I would love to do a seminar on teaching people how to combine foods for better absorption. There are proteins, there are fats, there are carbohydrates, there's fruits and vegetables, there's melons. When you eat your food, they are different pH. Mm-hmm. It's a level that we measure if its pH is high, alkaline, or low, acidic. Your body, when it takes a protein, it has to be broken down by an enzyme called protease. That breaks down your meat, your potatoes, your nuts, and it breaks down into amino acids that help to repair and build muscle.
Mm-hmm.
So by educating, I would love to do a seminar how you combine your fruits and vegetables with your meats and potatoes. In this society, when people come in with a lot of gas, when you put an acid, when we did biochemistry, organic chemistry, with a base, there's gas, there's putrefaction where there's bowel gas, and people are burping. And so what do? Here's an antacid.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at properly combining your foods, combine your protein with vegetables, no problem. We eat meat and potatoes in Canada. You eat in protein and carbohydrates. So you're producing protease to break down the protein, but then you're competing with amylase or amyloglucosides to break down carbohydrates. So nothing gets digested. That's how you have that. So that is, I did a book on that, on how to combine your foods properly. So when you eat, you be like a child, energetic and moving because your metabolism is going and can break down. But as we get older, I'm in my 60s, you're in the 60s, that we have to educate people. And I always remember in medical school, one of the terminology that I always said, I like your full analysis that you just shared with us, but also I remember the father of medicine. Let food be your medicine, and let medicine be your food. So I'm really excited to teach and educate people on proper eating habits. We talk about hormones, but for the men out there, hormones is not the only thing. You have to look at the holistic part of a woman, the emotional part. And
you talk a lot about women, but men have health issues too.
Absolutely.
And so let's not forget them in terms of, you mentioned the menopause in women, but men have similar conditions as it pertains to their hormone levels changing over time, the testosterone going down. And so there are treatments available for them as well. And you may...
If I may interject.
Sure.
My mom had irregular menstruation when she was younger in the West Indies. She's now 91. The thing she did was go to the doctor, hysterectomy. That would rectify everything. I focus a little bit, like I said, on the women. Men, on the other hand, dominated the society. A woman, when she comes up with an emotional problem, here's an antidepressant. She's got PMS, premenstrual syndrome. Oh, psychosomatic. We focus so much on men with andropause. They do have hot flashes. We do gain weight around this area, weight gain. We may have insomnia, maybe the slight hot flashes, yes. But when it comes to women, 10% of women suffer from what we call the idea of the sexual intimacy part. They never have orgasms. Do you think if men didn't have that same statistic, they wouldn't be doing something to rectify and help? Of course they would. So a lot of the women, I saw like they're taking the back seat. And a lot of focus for men, if they needed anything, they're quick to jump in, do more research, rectify it. But it's a sad thing to say, vaginal dryness, dyspareunia during sexual intercourse, painful sexual intercourse, or it's all the woman, it's all hormones.
Okay. And so just from...
So it's a valid point to talk about.
Yes, and because from the male standpoint, the penis dries out as well, but worse than the penis drying out is erectile dysfunction. So
absolutely,
men do have the problem.
ED, erectile dysfunction.
And the erectile dysfunction.
And there's a lot of research helping out.
And it's just as troubling for men as the menopause is for the women.
Absolutely.
So I just mentioned that
yes,
to say
it's a valid point. It's a valid point. And men, it's a...
And there are things that are available for men as well.
Absolutely, a lot. But we wouldn't say, when I get into that age or that stage, if I have ED, erectile dysfunction, it's psychosomatic.
A lot of
it's
it is.
Mental.
A lot of it is.
Could be.
And a lot of it is. And I mentioned that to the men that I see. Yeah. I say a lot of it is a psychological impact on the ED. Certainly your testosterone levels aren't what they were when you were 20 and 30.
Yes.
But at the same time, what really worsens the erectile dysfunction is the mental thought of, oh my God, what is going to happen this time, because I remember what happened the last time.
Right.
And so there is an impact.
And this is the thing that I said, I will go back to it again. You have people implemented in this facility, the Healing Center, that they can educate the men. Because most men are not open to discuss these things openly. Women are. Women are.
You know what,
especially to a female doctor.
Well, I would say that you have to give the aura to anyone you treat that you are open to listening to them and you're not here to judge them. And so that's the point that I always will preface my conversation with, or start the conversation with. I'm not the judge.
Yes.
I'm the physician. And so if you can open up and be honest with me, then we can get to the root of the problem. And the root of the problem sometimes isn't the testosterone level. It's the financial strain that he is under, that he's the head of the household and figuring out how he's going to keep the lights on at the end of the month. So,
You know, when getting back to stress, everybody has stress, but I chose in the 90s to really educate the people. What is stress? There's good stress and there's bad stress.
Exactly.
So Hans Selye said, and he had many sayings, but he says, when it comes to stress, is the inability to cope with the stress.
Mm-hmm.
So stress may be a risk factor, absolutely. But I chose to do my PhD to show how stress affects physicians when they were studied in pre-med, before exams, during exams, and after exams. We did talk about East and Western way of approaching the patient, but they have stress in Eastern countries, we have stress in Western countries. So I chose to really talk about, and I actually came up with a book, Stress-Free Living, because I wanted to do my dissertation on teaching people what is stress. So I was able to show that. How did I show that? I'm looking at you, you're happy, you're relaxed, but did you know that when you take protein intake into your body, we break it down and we excrete it. So we have something called negative nitrogen balance and positive nitrogen balance. Negative nitrogen balance is when we break down and we don't have enough protein intake. We look at the African children with a big tummy and say, oh, they eat well? No, it's kwashiorkor disease. They are in negative nitrogen balance. So I was able to show among medical students before exam, during exams, and after exam. I measured the amount of protein because protein can be excreted in something called creatine. So I measured all their protein intake before exams, and when they finished exams, I measured what they were taking in and what they were excreting. Before the exam, they were in positive nitrogen balance. But during exams, and even post-exams, they were taking in protein intake, but they were excreting more creatine. They were in negative nitrogen balance. And guess what? When people are stressed, when did we, you and I in our pre-med or medical school, when did we become sick? Before the exams? We developed a cold and the immune system got, so taxed that we developed colds and everything post-exams.
Now, during your research, did you find out the differences in the nitrogen balance as it pertained to positive stress versus negative stress?
No, I didn't say that, but that's a good point, because the people like myself, when I was younger, I handled my stresses differently. I was jogging, as I still do now, to help to create something called endorphins. The dopamine, GABA aminobutyric acid, serotonin levels. That helped, plus the most impact that I had, my father taught me I should be praying. So that also kept me in positive nitrogen balance, and I never got sick. In fact, I boast sometimes, when was the last time I was sick and missed a day? In over 4 decades, I never missed one day. As yourself, I enjoy going to the practice. It rejuvenates me. I can't wait till Monday to go back to work. Whereas most people don't want to go. They don't want the weekend to stop. My job and your job, we don't work, Dr. Singleton. We love what we do. Our patient respects us, enjoys our company. So it's a thrill for me just coming here. I'm able to hug, to meet the staff, to meet the patients. They need this environment that stands from God, and He has given us the tools to share with them. So
well, it's good to know. I didn't know this, but it's good to know that prayer keeps us in positive balance, because prayer is a huge part of my life and should be the life of everyone who believes in God. And I'm not going to
whatever belief they want, yes.
Segregate out what people believe and their beliefs. That's not the purpose of what we're doing here today. But just to know that prayer does make a difference. And that's why we're bringing the spiritual aspect into the healing
I like
center,
that, the spiritual.
because that's where the healing is going to take place.
There were even studies done. 2 groups of patients with cancer. In one of the rooms, nobody came in. They were just in there and they would just sit there. In another group settings, cancer patients, a priest or someone, a study, would have to collar the coat and go in the room. After a certain amount of period of time, the group that had, quote unquote, the pastor coming in, survival rate was longer. As opposed to the other group who did not have the pastor. So I truly believe.
And the same studies were done with surgical patients, pre-surgical, post-surgical. Those who had prayer healed quicker than those who didn't.
Let's not forget the power of the mind. I think somebody quoted less than 2% of the brain that we use, less than 2. What are the rest? Prejudice, anger, frustration.
Negative.
So we want to turn that negative stress, and we can help them in the healing center, into positive stress. Because that is where the faith, the nutrition, what you think, what you drink, what you eat, what you do, all these things, an analogy with what God focusing on us to get them. We may not get them to the level where they want immediately, because I will let you know, it takes time. In my profession, I tell people, if you have the patience, it'll take time. To be a famous boxer like Muhammad Ali, he trained years, and God forgive him that, one of the things that he stand up was for humanity. And there's a lot of people. I could talk about Martin Luther King. I could talk about Malcolm X. I could talk about Mother Teresa. This healing center is going to be known all around the world, because people will begin to spread the word. We came and we got healed naturally. We have less pain. We could think clearly. We could eat better. We have more energy, and that will spread. And in due time, I am hoping with this facility that we can work with the politicians and we can give back to Orangeburg. Lovely people, lovely weather. I want people to come and enjoy themselves. For me, this is a vacation. It's not work. I enjoy being here.
Well, we want to thank you very much for visiting with us. I'm Dr. Monnie Singleton at the Singleton Healing Center, and we are delighted to talk about this new venture that we're going to be bringing east and west and spiritual. God bless all of you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
God bless.
Thank you.